How do you color skin?
That's a good idea to talk about, and I'm really sick of colorists gatekeeping their processes. In doing this project, I had a lot of questions I couldn't find answers to, so I had to make up my own solutions by reverse engineering the layers from working colorists like Matt Wilson. So I don't know how anyone else colors skin, but I know how I did it, and because gatekeeping sucks, I'm going to show you how I colored and layered my pages. I picked this panel, pencils by Malevolent Matt Childers, inks and colors by me. I've uploaded it to my site if anyone wants to download it and take a look, poke around, have some fun. It's in Clip Studio format for Clip Studio Paint, but let me know if you want a PSD version. Let's dive into the layers. Here near the top, we've got the inks. Then right at the bottom, there's a reference layer with reference, this thingy, turned on. More on that layer in a minute. Above this is the flats, which holds the correct colors for the characters and scene. Then above that, I have a layer on which I put little painted details, usually just, rosy skin, noses, lips, stuff like that. It's subtle, but it makes a big difference. Then I have the shadows with the color set as a layer color. I like to use a grayish violet for my shadows, but that may change depending on the scene. For example, if this were set in a forest, I might make the shadows green or something. I colored everything in kind of quick and sloppy strokes with a textured brush. You may notice that coloring quickly leaves little errors like this and this. If you're looking for problems, you'll find them, but this saves time, and generally the eye makes excuses for these problems as you read. Then I have a multiply layer with a texture for the background, and then a color shift for Murray in the foreground to set him apart. It's a desaturated blue set to hard light. Then we have an overlay layer with all the highlights bouncing off of shiny surfaces. You'll notice all these highlights are different colors, which are usually brighter, more saturated versions of the colors they're on top of. At the top of everything is this texture set to 20% overlay just to add a little noise, which is a common trick. So what was the reference layer for if it's not even visible? In building all this, it's the most important layer because it allows me to call up masks and selections of any colored area, including the background, midground, and foreground. If you're familiar with my inking process, you know that I keep my planes inked on separate layers, shown visually here. This is then incorporated into my reference layer so that I can call up and separate the characters and planes. I didn't even take advantage of this with this panel, but with this trick, I could have done a glow effect for this lamp or a fog effect if I wanted to. I used this trick on a lot of panels in just these 10 pages. So I hope this helps you to realize the sorts of things you can do with layers in Clip Studio Paint. Again, this panel is available to download at my site if you want to take a look and play around. Thank you for being a friend.